The pile-up from part 3 is silent. You cannot feel too many trucks on your artery walls, not for years, sometimes decades. So how do you see a danger you can't feel? One tube of blood. But here's what nobody tells you. The standard reading can quietly mislead you. A standard lipid panel gives 4 numbers: total cholesterol, HDL, triglycerides, and LDL. The one everyone watches. And most of the time, that LDL number isn't even measured. It's estimated with a 50-year-old formula that subtracts the others. That estimate works, until it doesn't. And it gets least accurate in exactly the situation you want it right. When your LDL is low and your triglycerides are up. The number you're trusting can read falsely reassuring at the worst moment. So here's the mental upgrade that changes everything, and it's free. Remember, cholesterol travels in apoB trucks. Your LDL number measures the total cargo, but the artery damage isn't done by cargo, it's done by trucks entering the wall. What you really want to count is the trucks. And you can count them. It's a blood test called apoB. Every apoB truck, LDL, and the related VLDL and IDL, the very low and intermediate density lipoproteins plus LPA, carries exactly one apoB tag. So apoB is a direct head count of the trucks in your blood. 2 people can have the identical LDL number, but if one has more smaller trucks, that person has more particles and measurably higher risk. If apoB isn't available to you, there's a freebie already hiding on your panel, your total cholesterol minus your HDL. It's called non-HDL. It needs no fasting and no calculation, and it counts the cholesterol carried by every kind of apoB truck. Almost nobody looks at it. You now can. Now, why is your number what it is? This is where people get it wrong in both directions, blaming themselves entirely or blaming nothing. The truth is, there are a few different reasons a number runs high, and knowing which is yours changes what you do about it. Some people are simply born high. We met them in part 3, familial hypercholesterolemia, half the docking bays, LDL 2 to 3 times normal from birth. It's more common than most think, around 1 in 250, and it hides in plain sight because the person feels totally healthy. Most high numbers, though, aren't one broken gene, they're many small genetic nudges adding up, plus how we live. And the biggest food lever isn't the cholesterol in your eggs. It's saturated and trans fat, because those quietly tell your liver to pull fewer trucks off the road. And some high numbers are a message from somewhere else in the body entirely. An underactive thyroid, a kidney problem, certain medications, or pregnancy. That's why a genuinely high number should be checked out, not just blamed on last week's dinner. So the same high LDL can mean very different things. Born high needs early, lifelong protection. Lived high has real room to move. Secondary high means fix the root cause. One number, 3 completely different stories. But there's one more number, and it's the one this whole series has been building toward. There is a particle almost no standard panel measures that diet and exercise usually don't meaningfully move, and that 1 in 5 people carry without ever knowing. It's called LPA, lipoprotein a. LPA is a cholesterol truck with an extra sticky protein wrapped around it. And that protein makes it both better at lodging in the wall and more prone to forming clots. Worse, your level is set almost entirely by your genes, fixed near childhood, and stable for life. Here's why it's been the series' hidden thread. Lifestyle usually barely moves it. Statins usually don't lower it and can nudge it up. So a person can do everything right, watch their LDL fall, and still carry a lifelong risk nobody measured. This is the danger that hides behind a normal result. The good news is how simple the test is. A clinician can measure it once. Because LPA barely changes across life, one LPA blood test can tell whether you carry this inherited risk. Current guidelines recommend measuring it at least once in all adults for lifetime risk stratification. Most people have never had it measured. And if it's high, there is not yet an approved drug whose specific job is to lower LPA. Some therapies can affect it indirectly or in specialized settings, and the targeted LPA drugs are still being tested. Clinicians usually respond by lowering the other risks more aggressively, apoB and LDL, blood pressure, and smoking exposure. because high LPA changes the whole risk picture. It isn't a sentence, it's a reason to protect the rest of the system more fiercely. So this is what it means to read the danger. Not one number you glance at and forget, but the trucks you count, the causes behind your own number, and the hidden particle you check once and remember. You just learned to read a test most people hand back without understanding. You can now see the danger, which leads to the question everyone actually wants answered. What genuinely brings the trucks down? And what's just noise, hype, and things that sound healthy but don't move the needle? In Part 5, what actually works? Part 5 separates what truly lowers your risk from what only sounds healthy. The treatments, the effect sizes, the honest truth. Subscribe so it finds you.